Welcome back, dear listeners, to another episode of Susan LoPresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul, the podcast where we explore the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to a woman's life, her health, and all aspects of navigating the midlife landscape. I'm your host, Susan LoPresti, and today I have a very special guest with me who I met on Alignable, which is a networking website. But since meeting Susan on Alignable, we have actually become very good friends because we live in the same neighborhood, and we just connected, and it's been a wonderful experience. So let me start by telling you a little bit about Susan. She was a senior manager director in a wide range of community-based social service programs across New York City. Susan was trained early on to support staff in developing their best work. Later on, as a personal development coach for seminars at Landmark Education, which is a global educational company that brought the conversation for transformation to the mainstream. Her coaching skills became world-class. In addition to being a New York State licensed master of social work and having an MS in dance therapy, Susan holds a management certificate from Columbia University Executive Training Program and a certificate in career development and management from NYU School of Continuing and Professional Studies. Having experienced the tragic loss of her son, an only child, she finally returned to life and the question, how can I contribute on this stage and age? In 2022, she studied with world-renowned grief specialist David Kessler and obtained a certification as a grief educator. Out of her commitment to ongoing learning and her latest adventure into grief work, she created the Luminous Legacy group on Facebook as well. This group is a private, supported space for people to be heard and valued for their experience with grief and loss, and to inspire us to let the light come back into our lives so we may keep creating for the ones that we lost and for our own legacy. So without further ado, let's welcome my dear friend, Susan Shafer, to my podcast. Susan, thank you so much for being here. Start by telling me what it is that you do, how you got started, and how you help people.
Well, I am retired now I've been retired in November, it'll be 8 years from working in the social service field. I worked for 49 years. So if you can add, I've been around. I worked in community-based programs with nonprofits, all kinds of nonprofits. We created programs. I developed them. I developed guidelines. I developed the policies and procedures. I hired people. I managed managers. I managed some myself along the way. That was what called to me rather than doing clinical work. But of course, in all that time, I did a lot of clinical work, but not in a clinic,
Yeah.
I was set and over probably 25 years ago, I started working with people to develop their resumes and doing career coaching. It was like a natural extra line out of my work and it interested me. So I went and got certified in that at NYU. And I was set to retire 8 years ago, November, and my son died suddenly in October. And if you've ever lost anyone close to you, you know, 8 years doesn't feel like, it feels like yesterday, and it feels like a very long time ago. And I jump back and forth. I can't wrap my head around it quite.
I don't know how you can.
No, you can't. But you can begin to accept that it happened. And I had the luxury, it was really a luxury, that I did retire the next month and I didn't have to do anything and go anywhere.
Yeah.
And produce at work and manage. I was managing a senior center at the time, in the Bayside Senior Center on the corner of Springfield Boulevard and the LIE, Charities Bayside Senior Center. I did that. Oh, that was my last job. I went close to home for my last job. I was feeling old and tired, and
I understand.
And so when I started coming back to life, it took between 3 and 4 years. And that is because I think because I was allowed, because nobody was hassling me. I didn't have a husband. I didn't have other children.
Right.
I could just in my chair in the corner of my room, watching Hallmark movies, because that was the level of excitement
Yeah.
I could tolerate.
It must have been a very difficult time for you.
Yes. Yes. And there are, you know, as you know, there are still times. And because of all my experience and training, people were saying, you know, you should do grief and you should, and, you know, and I'm like, leave me alone. I cannot hear this until I could.
Right. How
And
long did that take to hear
well,
it?
4 to 5 years. It's been 8 years. It's 4 to 5 years before I could process anything. Because you must know about landmark education.
Yes.
Yes, I've been doing that work for 24 years. So I knew that I couldn't not do anything for the rest of my life.
Yes.
So I literally felt called back, like a light at the, not a tunnel, just down the road. It was a new life experience. And I thought that out of the particular experiences that I had, starting with handling my parents' estate, which they thought was complete, which was mostly complete, but not quite.
Yeah.
And it still required a lot of work, you know, meetings with the bank and getting paperwork and getting notary signatures and doing a lot of work. And then my son had inherited his house from his father who had died before him. That was one of the triggers for him. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work at the time when your feelings and your emotions and your brain are working overdrive, not a calm thinking place.
I can't imagine.
And I thought I had this idea in the back of my mind to work with people to start having those end of life conversations. I call it the last chapters conversations now. Like now, Susan, now, with the people in their lives about how they want things to go. It's kind of pre-estate planning. It's figuring it all out with your loved ones and involving them and not dumping stuff on them after you're gone.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about it, didn't do too much with it. And then I found David Kessler. He's a grief expert who's been in the field for, I don't know, 35 years. He was a hospital administrator and then, I don't know, kind of morphed into doing grief work. And he's written, I think, 2 books with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, with Louise Hay. So he's been in the right company. And he's the real deal. He's a mensch. He's just like an everyday mensch. He's got a very good heart, and he's getting very rich and very well known. He was with Lisa Marie Presley, visiting with her, working with her as she was starting to do grief work in her living room. So he's got that, and the Judds after the mom died.
Yes.
And he taught me to say death by suicide, not he committed. It's not like a crime. And he has a couple of grief.com. You'll find a lot of different stuff there. And I did a writing program that he did, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, with a writer. And they gave us prompts about writing about different aspects of our grief. And we'd go into on the Zoom breakout rooms, and we'd share and we'd read to each other and all that stuff. And then I discovered a certification program that he has for a few years. It's a grief educator certification program. And you meet, it's like a college course. You meet for about 3 months, twice a week. A lot of content. He had a lot of visiting experts, as well as his content, his curriculum. And I was ready for that after doing a landmark vacation course called A Life That Sings. And that's for people whose lives are working, but not quite singing. And I came home and I registered for his course. I was so inspired. And then I started more seriously thinking about this idea I had. It took me a while. I'm slow. I'm not under pressure, and, half resisting, half accepting. So I decided that the kind of grief work I want to do is, besides working with small pods of people to go through these conversations, we start off with, where did you get your ideas about what death and dying are, and how did your family handle grief? So to ground them in history, what are you doing now? Have you changed anything? Oh, that's your legacy. Did you know that that's your legacy? How you've changed it? How you're bringing joy and celebration to your family? And the other work that I want to do that's more direct with grief is for people who are at the stage of life of their grieving, and there's no year cutoff. It's they know where they are, where they're kind of like seeing the light, like I did, like life is calling you again. What are you going to do about it? What do you want to do? What do you fantasize? How can you make a meaning out of what has happened to you? Because I know that I fell a little in love with my identity as a grieving mom. You know how you start along a path and it becomes your default way of thinking and acting, and it becomes like you're a little special, and I got tired of that. So that's changed. Like, I don't have to announce to everyone I meet,
Right.
as I did in the beginning.
Right.
That's part of my life. It's not who I am. I mean, it's a huge part, but that's not the first thing you want to know about me. And he wrote a book called Finding Meaning, the 6th Stage of Life. That's after Kubler-Ross's 5 stages. He actually got permission from her estate, he said, to name it the 6th Stage of Life. That's the workbook. And as I was thinking, I'm going to work with his Finding Meaning book, I started reading it and seeing what he says about it and how it blends with what I think. And I emailed him and said, can I use your book? He said, yes, as long as you attribute, if there's any quotes or anything. And now he just published a fabulous workbook as a companion to this, thousands of questions to ask people to help them see where they are, identify their myths, identify their truths, uplift them, what's next. So that's now my study program.
That's excellent.
Yeah, that's the long version. And I'm reaching out to people who are in the healing professions to see, of course, if there's any way that we can either support each other.
It's really interesting how out of something bad, something good could actually evolve.
Yes.
Right? No matter how horrible the experience, if you can turn it into some kind of a positive, it's not all in vain.
It has to evolve.
Right.
And yeah, I came out of it with a more open heart, with more compassion for people, with more of an intimate compassion for people. But I don't know if I would give it up just to have him still be alive. It's not like I don't consider it a blessing.
No.
I consider it a form of renewal. Just the natural process. I don't want to name it good or bad and nothing moral about it.
I feel like it could be a healing process as well, right?
Yes.
Helping other people who were in your shoes at one point and knowing and being able to empathize with all of the emotions that come along with and the stages of grieving death as well.
Yes. Yes.
And I mean, oh my God, I have the chills right now because I have an only daughter, one daughter, who's 31, and she is literally my everything in this world. And
Yeah,
it makes me emotional.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
I admire you for being able to come back from that and then want to help other people navigate through it. And I was hearing you say about the process. So, are you helping people with the grieving of a loved
Um,
one or the process of getting your affairs in order prior to?
so here's the thing. I've only worked with a couple of people, pods of people so far, and I knew them. One couple were about getting their affairs in order, and so they weren't particularly in grief. And the other person was in grief. It's very interesting now that I'm attuned to it,
Mm-hmm.
to recognize grief when people are calling it something else. I call it unrecognized grief. Someone who lives in Bayside who had brain surgery. She had a tumor. She had brain surgery. She lost her short-term memory, and she was grieving the loss of that and how it limited her life now, how she has to have notes and stickies and everything all over everywhere. And she doesn't drive anymore. This was a woman who didn't need other people to do things. She
Yes,
just got in the car and went. So she was really mad.
rightfully so.
And she was in that stage of grief that had to be acknowledged and dealt with a bit. I wasn't there as her therapist. I acknowledged it and we talked about it a bit. And we got to a point where I could start talking with her a little bit about being compassionate with herself. And she said, I might try. Like she wasn't willing. She's compassionate for other people, but not for herself. So we were stopping and starting a little.
Yeah.
And so by the end, she had a list of things to do. And that's how we worked on that. It's fascinating. And the couple, one of them said to me, I thought I had a plan. We don't have a plan. So not directly in with a grieving person. I'm willing, not my favorite piece of that to work with.
A grieving person. Yeah.
Newly, newly
Does
grieving.
that stir up your own?
I have a couple of unresolved thoughts about it where I do have conversations with people around me about it so that I, try to reconcile myself. My son died from drug use. So there's always that I should have saved him. And I know all the rational reasons why I didn't and couldn't, but there's that. I left for work. He was living with me.
Right.
I left for work. When I came back, I found him on the couch. So when I say something like that, I feel it. But I'm really highly trained, and I know when it's me, and I know when I can use it as empathy and not project onto somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm really very highly trained as a social worker and in Landmark. A lot of coaching, a lot of programs that are all about knowing when it's you and not you. I'm engaging in the parts of the process where I feel most empowered and most able to serve.
Maybe not as personal for you in a way.
Well, the finding meaning is very personal for me.
Yes.
I don't know what might pop up or who might pop up, whether or not I'd say find someone else or let's talk. I'm not sure, but I know the pieces that I prefer.
Yeah.
I've gained is a listening that gives them space. I don't have to fix anything.
Right.
I don't have to do anything for them or to them. And yes, of course, if I know resources that
Right.
would help them, that's what I would do,
Right.
you know. So I'm not really afraid of people newly in grief. I'm just not, I don't have that much patience.
Right. So you're more about helping someone to get their affairs in order and know the direction that everything needs to go.
Yeah, like I'm not a lawyer,
Right.
but as part of my program, I had a lawyer speak, I had a funeral director speak, and I had the people in my program invite the people in their lives
Right.
for free. I didn't
So
charge for
you
that.
did, so you did like a seminar, more or less?
They did a presentation. I did what I call a program. I was not a seminar because it wasn't just teaching.
Yeah.
It was interaction, it was conversation, it was questions, 4 or 5 sessions. And I have a list of things that they should be looking at as part of their estate plan, but I'm not putting together their estate plan.
Right.
I want them to get organized in their thinking and their what they want to talk to their families about, start thinking about, start looking into. It's more like coaching.
Yes.
And then I had these speakers. And then I had a couple of months later in the warmer weather, I I had made the acquaintance of a person who is a forest bathing
Oh.
person who does nature walks and forest walks, spiritual walks all over Long Island. And I said to her, I have an idea. And when I'm ready to put it together, I'm going to call you. And 2 years later, I called her.
Mm-hmm.
And we put together a walk in Alley Pond Park that had some conversations about grief in it, as well as her stuff. So much that can be created. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking now of what I could add. And the last thing is I just got a phone call out of the blue from someone who is working with a platform called Forum. It's a platform that brings people together to, on a subscription basis, to be in groups of their interest. And she called me to facilitate a group.
Awesome.
And her idea was to facilitate a group of grief workers where they can, a peer group, they'll be a peer group and share about their work and support each other. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not the teacher, I'm the facilitator. I know what the difference. And that's freaking me out a little bit, but I said yes. So anyway, so that's in my future.
Susan, thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate your time coming on, talking about what you do. I know it was a very painful topic, and I know that you have great things in store for you in the future. And I just want to thank my listeners for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please be sure to follow me here and subscribe to my channel. I release a new episode every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also want to remind everyone that my new program, 30 Days Heal to Rejuvenate, is coming out January 2nd, 2025. It's 30 days of taking care of you. This program is all about you. It's about healing. It's about getting yourself into the right mindset, loving yourself more, putting yourself first so that you can continue to live a long, healthy, and happy life and be able to enjoy all that life has to offer. I will put the link in the show notes. Every day we will be on Zoom live at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But don't worry, if you can't make the live, the recording will go into a private Facebook group and you can catch it anytime that's convenient for you. And every day we will start with a health quote that I would like for you to carry with you throughout the course of the day. Then we will get into some kind of health education to teach you about different things that you could do. Very simple, easy lifestyle changes, dietary changes, just so many different things that I really can't even begin to tell you. But all of these little changes in your life will begin to make the biggest difference in how you look and how you feel. And at the end of every session, we will end the session with meditation and a Reiki healing from me. I am a Reiki practitioner, and each day at the end, we will meditate and you will receive Reiki. And if you don't do anything but meditate and receive Reiki healing, I promise you, in 30 days, you will still see a difference in how you look and how you feel. So again, thank you for joining. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until the next time, be well, stay happy, and bye for now. Take good care, everyone.